This is Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
I shudder thinking how the world can be so cruel. I lend my voice to those who can't. It's time we try, it's time we care, it's time we stand. It starts with a
voice. Welcome back. I always do that in the intro. Drink water before going on air. Welcome back to the Special Chronicles show. My name is Daniel, founder of Special Chronicles and a Southern Shriver International Global Messenger with Special Olympics. And so excited to, for this episode, 458. I think I got that right. Because this episode, we are welcoming the Good Vibes podcast to the Special Chronicles Network. So please put your virtual hands together as we welcome host and good friend of Special Chronicles, Jerry Holy, to the Special Chronicles Network.
Oh, I am loving that, Daniel. I'm so loving that.
Yeah, don't you love that applause? I mean, it's as if we have a live. So one of these days, we're gonna take this network on tour, city to city, or to whatever some podcast tour, and we'll have a live audience.
Definitely worth it. I'll definitely come in for the Virginia ones, obviously.
Yeah,
fair for that, honestly.
Yeah. So we'll have to figure that out sometime in the future, but. Excited for long-time listeners, and I mean long-time listeners, will remember that I don't know if you were on an official actually I think you were. It was back when we did a college series featuring athletes like you and me that have gone to college, and I forgot when that was. Was that in 2012 maybe? I thought
it was 2010. I feel like it was 2010.
11?
I feel like it was that. It feels like 11 years for some reason in my head.
Something.
I don't know. I had to re-look it up. I know.
So, you guys, if you're listening, just go to specialchronicles.com. Look for Next Level. I think that's the name of the series. Or just search for Jerry Hurley on specialchronicles.com, and it should come up. I think. Hundreds of podcasts.
One way or another, right?
Yeah. So, as you know. We've had some kind of off-air conversations. We've been DMing each other on Instagram, and we are now formally welcoming you and the Good Vibes podcast to the Special Chronicles Network. We have the Special Chronicles show is the flagship podcast on the network. We have the George and Daniel show. We have the Unified at Work series. We've got the Amazing Individuals podcast. We've got a few shows, and now you are one of the new podcasts on the network. We're excited to welcome you and share all the great episodes that you have done, that you will be doing, and excited to be collaborating with you as a host. And yeah, so welcome.
Yeah, definitely. And just to serve those people want to sort of get the premise of how Good Vibes came to be.
Yeah.
It was just basically because it was just Instagramming live videos every day. And let's just say Andre Khan, who's the vice president of the Unified Champion Schools Department at Special Olympics headquarters in the North America region, she says, make this into a show or something. I'm like, okay. So I made the Good Vibe show. And so technically, I've already gone through 5 seasons already. I'm working on getting my season 6 planned out, obviously.
Yeah.
Seasons at the time when this happened, season 6 may already be occurring. Possibly in season 7, maybe plan.
Yeah.
But in interim of all that, I have a special series that's called the Road to the 2020 Special Olympics USA Games, because I was selected to compete at the USA Games as a member of Team Virginia for their swim team. And if anyone's curious what the swim team name is, it's HTL Wizards.
Awesome. Awesome. And, well, I feel like we could also kind of, we'll have to have you back on the podcast to talk about preparing for the 2022 USA Games. So not on this episode, but we'll have to have you back on because we have a 2022 USA Games podcast series. So if people go to Apple Podcasts or wherever and search for Special Olympics 2022 USA Games, all podcast series on Special Chronicles will come up. But let's kind of take our listeners back a little bit, and because we have a lot of new listeners that have tuned in and subscribed and are listening since the last time that you were on, which we honestly forgot what year it was. Sometime
I feel like it was like back in 2017 or something. Because
I think it was. I want to say it was 2012.
I was on two of your. Well, besides the one episode I recorded, with you on 2 live episodes in HQ Headquarters too, if you remember.
Yeah, a couple live episodes, and Headquarters. That was when we that was all pre-COVID when we could actually.
Who knows
we code on location.
Or where the office will be.
We code live on location. Yeah. So for any new listeners, why don't you kind of reintroduce yourself and kind of a little bit of kind of briefly about your backstory and how your podcast came to be. You mentioned a little bit, but a little bit more.
Yeah, so basically, obviously I'm Jerry Hulley. I'm a special interest athlete for 25 years. Yes, a quarter of a century, for goodness sake. That's crazy, right?
I know, it is crazy.
But it was during when COVID struck last year. It was sort of like a major downer on people, I think, and such. And what ended up being sort of an besides the inspiration for the Good Vibe Show was actually the. Have you ever heard of the Sounds Like Autism podcast? I was on I was on a panel for theirs, and sort of thought wonder if I could do something like that too. And I just started recording daily videos on Instagram, like Instagram videos. And I was just entertaining myself that way or something.
There's just before you continue, I wanted to just briefly there's another podcast I listened to called Hope Still Wins, and he actually, the way he started his podcast was kind of the same way. He was putting videos up on Instagram, on IGTV on Instagram, and then he kind of moved away from the videos on Instagram and moved to kind of his podcast. So it kind of is the same kind of way of how you started. So
yeah, it's ironic because it was just daily videos, and then, like I said earlier, Andre Khan, who's an amazing individual. So if you are watching or listening to us at this time, thank you for the inspiration behind starting out the show, because she was actually a guest at the end of season 3, which was kind of fitting for her to come on the 3rd season. And it all worked out well. I used Instagram Live for pretty much almost all of season. Started with Instagram Live with season 1 and 2, and then it transitioned tail end of tail into Zoom, and then Zoom's been what's been used since, along with a few other fun gadgets in there as well. And let's check how many episodes I've done, but it's well over 100 now for sure. Because I know I celebrated episode 100 in season 4. I have to remember the count officially. But when I do get the counts, it's well over 100, at least 100, over 120 for sure, to be 100% honest. But it's a show that pretty much just shares a positive and appreciation vibes to folks, and also gives good vibe things to people as well. And it's worth noting that when COVID hit, it was just perfect timing, and it has had various different guests on the show. Like, guests started showing. There was actually one episode which I've been never able to get off of Instagram, unfortunately, which was with my coworker Novi, who's actually I just was on a podcast with her for Special Olympics. Just if you ever want to look out for that one,
the Inclusion Revolution Radio podcast, right?
I believe that's it. I forgot to say it right, but it was a fun one. That one was a fun one to be on as well. I could let you know about that. That's the only episode I really wish I was able to take up. But as the show goes, I've had John's Crazy Socks on there, John and Mark Cronin. I've had coworkers on there. I've had Ben Hack which was an amazing episode they have on there.
I had Ben Heck. He's down in Australia, right? Yeah, down under in Australia. Yeah, I've had him on. I don't know, back in 2016 or what, I can't remember when, but like 7, 8, whatever years ago. And then I've had him on again recently too.
Yeah, I pretty much would love to have him out on the show, or even do him on the show with just the three of us on the show. Be amazing.
We should. So hey, you know what? When this podcast drops, like the kids say, when this episode drops, we'll have to tag and let Ben know to listen, and we'll have to get Ben, you, and I on. Yeah.
Yeah, because that working, just getting that episode was like probably the most. Ben's episode was like the best one. The audio was, I wish the audio was so much better. But like when me and Ben really I really appreciate Ben Heck for this.
Me too. Yeah.
But another guest on the show who I had on in a week just because it was a virtual birthday party. We were talking about it, and we actually got it done. Like we did record not once but twice. The second time was much better actually. But Josh Mirsky, who's one of the hosts of the Sounds Like Autism podcast, and he those have been been the three guys outside of my realm of work who've been on the show.
Yeah,
and also besides Nicole Kraser, who's the advisor to the Special Olympics Northern Virginia Young Professionals Board, which I'm a part of.
Yeah,
and there are a few people outside of programs who've been on the show from state programs. But I think probably the most well-received episode it's been mostly coworkers, and I really would like to expand that, obviously. And that's just something that they work on. Obviously, it is a lot of time in doing things, so I think eventually I'll see some cool things, obviously. So it's an amazing show. I'll admit to that.
Yeah.
And the special series I'm doing, that's one that's seen. There's going to probably end up being a recap once I'm done with USA Games, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
In which, let's just put it this way, I just got done with training camp just recently, so that was just a fun experience to just bond with my teammates, bond with everyone, and actually get the feel of everyone and such. And I think it's just going to be an amazing experience down in USA Games because the irony of this, if no one's ever knew me well enough, I've been at the past 3 USA Games as a staff member for Special Olympics Unified Championships, never as a competing athlete. So the tables have turned this time around. At least. Yeah,
I saw that announcement video, and I know hopefully one of these days I'll get to compete at a USA Games or even a World Games, but I'll probably have to wait until after my SSIGM tome. So once again, if you listeners out there, go follow at Good Vibes by GH on Instagram, and you can subscribe to the Good Vibes by Jerry Holy podcast on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. We're gonna maybe 2 minutes from now we're gonna take a short sponsor break, because if it wasn't for our supporters, people donating, sponsoring, then we wouldn't be able to be behind the microphone today. But first, I want to maybe in just 1 minute share with us, and we can continue this next topic after the break. But tell us just briefly why podcast, and why did you decide to go from posting videos on Instagram and IGTV and into audio podcasting, and I mean, would also video recording this too. But why did you decide to kind of go from IGTV and posting videos on Instagram into podcasting?
Yeah, I can talk about that, but after the commercial break, obviously, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it's probably a little bit of a longer conversation than, but yeah. So we'll let our listeners kind of tease the listeners that. But I know all of us at Special Chronicles, we've got just a very, very small team. My dad's the business manager. We've got a few board members. We've got a very small group here, and I know all of us are excited to be bringing on new podcasts. We're excited to have your show, Good Vibes, really joining the network and bringing that good, no pun intended, that good vibes to the Special Chronicles network. Our conversation as we welcome the Good Vibes by Jerry Holy with host Jerry on the Special Chronicles network continues after the break. I've got to go find this bumper here. When the podcast continues right here, this is episode 458 on SpecialChronicles.com when we continue. We're going to take a quick break from our conversation today to learn how you can become a Special Chronicles supporter so we can continue to produce this podcast. Support for Special Chronicles comes from listeners like you. As an independent public media podcast, Special Chronicles will always be there for you. Now we're asking you to be there for us. As a nonprofit independent media organization, we can only make programs like Special Chronicles with listener support. Our programs provide weekly, candid, honest, and inspiring conversations about the people with disabilities community that creates awareness, support, and advocacy within each week's episode. Listeners tell us our shows are an enjoyable and necessary podcast for the intellectual and developmental disability community and everyone else who is able to listen to stories about life from a different angle. Please, if you and your family love our weekly podcast, make a one-time, monthly, or annual gift of thanks today. Support this podcast at specialchronicles.com/give. That's specialchronicles.com/give. And now, back to the show to continue the conversation today. And back to the show. We're back. We're back.
Just tell you to get up from his cat nap.
No, always. We're back. If you listen to the audio podcast, go check out the video on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter Live and see why we're kind of laughing. Because Jerry during that sponsor break, Jerry had his cat join us, and I had a duck join me in the studio.
Yeah, so actually, this is one of my two cats. His name's Bagheera. So if you know the Jungle Book, he's named after the Black Panther from there. He's actually going to be turning 7 on October 18th. So he's a very well behaved boy. He likes, right now he's on my lap, but probably he's demanding a little attention. But I'm going to put him down to let him get some things. He may constantly be meowing in the background and come back up here, or he may end up jumping on the back of my chair potentially. But our sibling is Sheba, who's upstairs with my mom and sister at the moment. So, and
I've got a plush duck. This duck is not alive, so unlike your cat.
I might as well just keep him on my lap because obviously he's good to keep meowing.
So I'm gonna go through this. Okay, yeah. No ducks or cats were harmed in the recording of this podcast.
Trust me, my cat. He is a snuggle bug. He doesn't mind being held like a baby sometimes, but right now. He's starting to demanding attention. He's like, I put me in my bed, put him at my feet at the moment, sort of. But he's just chilling. So
let's continue and get to that topic that I mentioned before we took that break, and tell us why podcast and why did you decide to take your show from posting videos on Instagram and IGTV and into audio podcasting and podcasting. Why did you decide?
So just to clarify, I actually still do post the videos on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Facebook, because there is a Facebook page as well, by the way, for Good Vibes. But the opportunity to get a bigger broadband in podcasting, because I still do the videos, obviously, because that's the thing I like doing a lot about it. Now, obviously, once I transition to a newer technology, obviously, the fun Zoom backgrounds that everyone's been so used to seeing.
Yeah.
It's going to go away, unfortunately, unless I get a giant piece of green paper behind me or something.
A green screen, because before you go on, if you do end up using StreamYard, and we'll talk more off the pod about whether it's with the Special Chronicles account that we have or another affiliate account that we have. But if at Special Chronicles, if we hook you up with... You guys, it's not drugs. We're not talking about drugs. Let's be clear.
It's technology.
It's technology. If we hook you up with... we might have to put a weight in on this for kids who listen. Okay, so... I don't know. You guys, just let's be clear. We don't do drugs.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Yeah. Anyways, if we hook you up with StreamYard and you get like a green screen behind like what I've got behind me, then you can still have those virtual backgrounds like what we're so used to with Zoom or Microsoft Teams. So, but yeah. Let me stop me interrupting and well, that's the part of the conversation, right? Is we kind of talk back and forth, but continue and tell us kind of why you decided to kind of bring your Good Vibes show from Instagram, IGTV into podcasting and audio podcasting.
So, because I was trying to figure out how to do podcasting for so long, and luckily enough, David Thompson, who's the other host of the Sounds Like Autism show, he sort of recommended Anchor. I got it all set up, and slowly but surely, episodes have been going up. It took me a while to get all the episodes up finally, and actually try to be up to speed on things. Because obviously, when you're a person who's like me, who's busy, like working out and just doing things, honestly, it takes a lot to think, like, get stuff up, and it's just time and patience sometimes. And to be honest with you, like, let's let you know, the first 3 seasons of Good Vibes had to be totally re-recorded through for this program I have, which is called OBS Studios. If you ever want to try that out, it's worth trying it out. Honestly, that's like my major platform I use now with combination of Zoom. And video editing. It was just re-recording. Those took the most time of the effort, but once it got past that, season 4 and 5 went up like that, and obviously my special series is going well, and I've done recap specials in those seasons for each season too, and it ends up, if you might find this funny, like I look back at each season and I'm like, why was I doing this again? Sort of attitude, but then I'm like, okay, now I know why. There's like some sense of humor in there, like obviously. Like for at least season 3 and 4, we're both like over 30 episodes long. And I'm like, that's pure insanity. But obviously, when you're trying to do a series like 3 days a week, it's like too much. So obviously, going forward, probably like maybe 1 or 2, maybe at least 1 episode a week, just because that allows me to actually marinate it a little bit more. Awesome. And like obviously, it could be like a Monday show or a Friday show. It could be even a weekend show for people.
Yeah. So let's now continue it and tell us about kind of the why of what's, as you know, the mission of the Special Chronicles Network, the mission of the Special Chronicles show is giving respect and voice to people with special needs like you and me, and really podcasting disability stories from an insider's perspective. So whenever people ask me what's the mission of Special Chronicles, not only Special Chronicles the podcast, but Special Chronicles the network, that's how I kind of answer that question. But share with us, what's the mission of that you hope listeners will have by tuning in, by subscribing, and listeners, and hopefully all of you listening will go on Spotify, go on wherever you get podcasts, and just search for Good Vibes by Jerry Holy and subscribe to Jerry's podcast. We'll be putting up his podcast page soon on specialchronicles.com. So soon, you guys, and actually, hopefully, by the time people are hearing us right now, if you go to specialchronicles.com, we will have Jerry's podcast listed on the homepage. So
yeah, totally. So
it's not up now, but it's not up as we're recording this. But by the time this drops, it will be up. So share with us the why of why are you podcasting? What's the mission that you hope listeners will have by tuning in? And
so actually, I've never really thought of there was like a real mission with Good Vibes, but I think as the show went on, it was more like just spreading positive energy to folks and such. Because obviously, it was made out during the time of the COVID-19 pandemic, which we're still in at the moment still, unfortunately. But it was meant to sort of give people something more uplifting to listen to. So obviously there's appreciation and support vibes throughout the whole like first part of the episode, and then sort of into the secondary part, which is the positive uplifting vibes, and the uplifting part got added into it after actually I just never had another guest on the show. This briefly was my friend Billy DeCat. He added the word uplifting into it, and then we just made it part of this show officially, the uplifting part.
Awesome.
It's like literally it became an amazing product and stuff just to share all these different types of vibes for folks and such. And if you ever really listen to the full like for every single episode, you actually find it interesting what ones were chosen and the themes are. And actually, I will tell you right now, if you listen to each of the recap specials, you end up previously something like I just pulled things out of my hat, literally for ideas. Like, yeah, I did, because I've never actually had like things emailed to me or anything for communication on it and such. So I just pulled things out of my head when I did. And I ended up, I think it was towards season 4. I had no clue what to talk about, so I ended up deciding to talk about cats because one, obviously, my black cat Bagheera here is down near me right now. But Sheba, who was a calico cat, she was like, they were both featured in different episodes as different things. Bagheera did make a brief guest appearance in season 2 because during the time of filming of season 2, he hurt himself, obviously. But
yeah.
I'm not going to talk about it much because when he's fully healed, I think he's pretty much does not want to be reminded of it, obviously, because who knows if he still remembers it.
Yeah.
But it's basically the show just sends all these positive energy to folks. I think now thinking about like we need mindfulness breaks, obviously, in life and mental health thing. I know that's another subject and stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
But it's like it's more of a thing that sort of keep yourself uplifted and positive energy and such. And I know going to season 6, and I'm probably gonna keep the remaining seasons like probably much shorter because I think as much as I like these lengthier seasons, I think like a span of like 12 weeks is enough for me probably because that allows me to at least give myself enough time to breathe for a month to get things going. And also because especially like I said with USA Games came up, I probably want as much time to do something.
Yeah.
And with me still working remote, obviously, but eventually working back in the office is a thing there too. So eventually it's just going to be how I'm going to get things done, obviously. And I know when this episode finds up, season 6 will be going and season 7 will probably be in the making or in the writing up process because I have 2 journals to write up all my ideas for Good Vibes, which I should be starting to use those now, obviously. Yeah. But just haven't had a chance to yet. It's just basically to send all that positive energy to folks because everyone needs positive energy. There's so much negativity out there in the world. Get rid of it.
Yeah, I love the mission and that you have with your podcast, and it's awesome. With kind of, I feel like, kind of when COVID kind of started a year and a half ago. There were like it seems like kind of like around the time when you started your show and there was a lot of, like you said, a lot of negative energy, whether it's racial stuff or politics or different stuff happening in our society. And the fact that you all bring in your show, it's not necessarily focused on the disabilities that we were diagnosed with. It's just bringing that positive energy, like you said, and really bringing that positive, good vibes that is so much needed in society. And that's why I'm glad that your podcast is joining the Special Chronicles Network, because we're able to show people, not only are we able to show people all special abilities, what we're able to do, but we're able to bring humor, bring some positive vibes to listeners that will tune in to your show. So we're going to go ahead in 2 minutes, take another sponsor break. Because again, if it wasn't for the sponsors, we wouldn't be able to have the lights on. This microphone wouldn't be on. We wouldn't be able to be. But it's free for you guys to listen to this podcast. It's free for you to listen. It's free for you to watch. But it does cost us money every month to bring you these podcasts. And so when we come back, we're going to play a clip. I've queued up an episode of Jerry's podcast, so you guys will get to hear just a small clip, and hopefully that will, I shouldn't say hopefully, I know firsthand that will encourage you to all go and subscribe. So once again, if you guys go to Instagram, follow at Good Vibes by JH, and just look up Good Vibes by Jerry Holy on Spotify and wherever you get your podcasts. Again, we are welcoming the Good Vibes podcast and host Jerry Hodley to the Special Chronicles Network. When the podcast continues, we'll hear a clip from Jerry's podcast. And we'll keep listening right here on SpecialChronicles.com. We'll be right back. And hold that thought. We're going to take a quick break from our conversation today to hear a message from our partner. Support for Special Chronicles comes from ComEd. Special Chronicles is proud to partner with the ComEd Energy Force Ambassador Program. The Energy Force is the country's first energy efficiency education program designed for and taught by people with disabilities. ComEd is powering lives and really is powering us here at Special Chronicles to keep the lights on and our technology is powered on. As ComEd powers the lives of us, they are literally giving a voice to people with special needs. We thank ComEd for the generous support of our mission at Special Chronicles. Learn more at specialchronicles.com/ComEd. That's specialchronicles.com/ComEd. And now we return to our conversation. This episode continues right now. Oh, we're back. This is Daniel, founder of Special Chronicles, and it's on the Chicago International Global Wrestling Show with Special Olympics, as we welcome the Good Vibes podcast by Jerry Hodley to the Special Chronicles Network. And if you couldn't tell, I totally pay attention during the sponsor breaks.
Luckily, no pets jump in this time around, luckily.
What?
Luckily enough, my cat didn't jump in this time.
Oh,
Because he's slowly edging his way upstairs because they left their crunchy foods at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, but he's off to the side. He's probably looking at me like, "What? I don't care what you're doing."
Well,
he knows he's loved.
Awesome. Well, with that, as we're gonna play a clip, then we're gonna kind of hear again how you all can go and subscribe. We'll put a little tickle thing. I think that's what they call it, the little tickle thing at the bottom. And we'll let you know how you can subscribe to Jerry's podcast. And I always conclude with a final question at the end. And Jerry might or might not be surprised by the question. If you listen to the Abu Dhabi Daily Show on SpecialOlympics.org, you have heard that final question. But let's should we go ahead and hear a clip? And folks, you guys, just go to Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts and just look up Good Vibes by Jerry Hodley, and make sure to hit the follow or subscribe button, however you do that, because we want to, So basically, you guys, wherever you're listening to the Special Chronicles show right now, you can also listen and subscribe to Good Vibes by Jerry Hodley. Right? Because
pretty much,
wherever you are listening to this, to this pod. So here is this clip, Jerry, that I told you we were going to play. Season 4, episode 19 of Good Vibes. Mm-hmm. Did you want to set it up for our listeners, or kind of?
Yeah, because I think this was post. I'm trying to remember. I think prior to this, I think it was you and I briefly talked about Good Vibes during the Special Chronicles Network, but we never followed. At the time, I was just an idea, now it's come full circle.
But now it's come full circle, yeah. So, and when was this originally recorded? I think it was released. Let me look to see if whoa, you got a lot of episodes. It's a good thing. You guys were have, but the thing that I like about yours, and maybe it's mostly because your show started on Instagram and IGTV. It's really short episodes, those 10, 5, 6 minute episodes. 10 minutes or less. The Special Chronicles show is a little bit longer, so this was released on August 22nd. This episode, season 4, episode 19. But I think it was released as a podcast on August 22nd, 2021. But when did it originally air? Was it this past?
If I'm recalling correctly, it may have been earlier than that. It could have been in July or something. Or June or May.
Here we go. Let me just look in the description.
In the description, because I put when it originally aired.
Aired on March 1st, 2021 is when you originally aired it. So
yes, ironically, aired like 5 months after. 5 months later. Yeah,
5-6 months later. It launched as a podcast, and then 3 months after that is when we'll finally welcome you to the network. So it's been pretty much 2021 is when we've been in talks of you. So the description says, today's appreciation and supportive vibes goes to Special Chronicles. I'm good friends with the CEO, founder, and producer, Daniel, plus good vibes might be joining the Special Chronicles network. Stay tuned until then. And you've got a bunch of hashtags on there. So, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and play that. Should we go ahead and play that clip?
Definitely.
Okay, here we go.
As well as our positive uplifting message. Surf goes with the idea of the jelly being free flowing here, and also being how they're known that they are fearlessly authentic in what they do. So there's a little funny thing to say there. So for today's appreciation, support advice goes to the Special Chronicles podcast and network. So I know the CEO, founder, and producer of Special Chronicles, Daniel. Me and him are very good friends. I was invited onto his show back in 2013 to be part of a series, and then I came out and joined him 2 more times when he came to Specialist headquarters, and me and him are very good friends, and he makes an amazing thing. It's an amazing network. I highly recommend checking out Special Chronicles, because it's an amazing thing. And me and him were talking about possibly having good vibes come on and join, so we're going to talk about that first for a little bit, but one, it'd be an amazing thing to come on and do everything, and it's such good, because one, good vibes would have probably a bigger viewership probably from it, and I'm actually like, hey, if it works out, it works out. In the end, though, I look at Daniel as an amazing individual for it, and he deserves a lot of appreciation and support of us, especially what he's done with that network and what they've done. And it's an amazing project he's done, and it's an amazing endeavor he's done. And I highly recommend checking out Special Chronicles, everyone. It's worth doing. So until then, definitely check out Special Chronicles, and I'll keep you guys updated if me and him agree of me joining the Special Chronicles network. So
well,
oxymoron, it happened.
Let's say from March 2021 to August to now. Well, we called this October, but it's being released in December, so it's taken us pretty much a little while, pretty much all of 2021. We can now have our audience give us a round of applause.
Oh, yeah. And it's kind of funny because I think I said 2013 in there. Like, I don't even remember. I think I ended up re-looking up when it actually originally aired.
Yeah.
When I said that. I said 2010 early in the episode. It's 2013 according to that.
From when you first... Yeah. Well, I know all of us at Special Chronicles were excited to have you join in the Special Chronicles Network. You guys all, if you listen to the audio podcast, go check out the video on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter Live, and see what's going across the screen. Again, we'll put links to this in the description below. But go follow at Good Vibes by JAH on Instagram, and subscribe to Good Vibes by Joey Holy podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts. Anything else that I missed, Joey, on where people can go and listen and subscribe? Because for you guys, wherever you are listening to this podcast, hopefully you guys are, if wherever you're subscribed to this podcast, go and look up Good Vibes by Joey Holy. We'll soon be putting links up on specialchronicles.com. But anything that I missed on where to go?
Other than the fact that I have it's my personal YouTube channel that's doing it all, obviously, but eventually Good Vibes may get its own YouTube channel. I'm not sure. I might just keep it to my personal just because it's easier. But there's a Facebook page. Obviously, I do want to note to people, you probably will end up having to go to YouTube to actually find an episode of Season 3 because good old-fashioned copyright managed to took down an episode on Facebook, and later on Instagram took out an episode from Season 3, so you can listen to it luckily enough. Be able to you can also watch it too, hopefully, if it has not been flagged by YouTube for copyright infringement yet, hopefully. Nor do I endorse copyright infringement. I always try to avoid that, I'm honest with folks.
Yeah. I mean, I know we'll kind of, Special Chronicles is kind of behind the scenes dealing with some stuff right now. I'm not going to get into details about that, but totally understand that. We're going to go ahead and take another short break. When we come back, we'll get to some final thoughts and the question that I always conclude these conversations with. Again, we are welcoming Jerry Holy's Good Vibes podcast to the Special Chronicles Network, and I'm going to do a quick costume change and for this next break, and we'll be right back. Hey, friends, podcast listener friends. I'd like to take a brief moment to let you know about how awesome StreamYard is. StreamYard is the easiest way to create professional live streams. StreamYard is a live streaming studio in your browser. Interview guests, share your screen, and much more. Stream directly to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and other platforms. Sign up for StreamYard and get $10 in credit with our referral link at specialchronicles.com/StreamYard. That's specialchronicles.com/StreamYard. You see the link right below on the screen here, and also will be in the show notes in the description below. But all of us at Special Chronicles, we love StreamYard. I've got a coffee mug I'm drinking coffee out of. Got a t-shirt on. I've got a sweatshirt. This StreamYard Puddles plush duck, Puddles the duck, here in the studio, and just really love it. Makes really love StreamYard. It makes it easy to connect with guests. Just send guests the link to join StreamYard, and easily have a professional logo and banners and graphics, and it just makes it easy to pre-record, to live stream on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Really love StreamYard. It's helped to make the audio podcasts and the video versions of the audio podcasts that I've been doing for the past 13 years. It's helped to make the video versions up to the next level, to a more professional level, while also making it easy to live stream. So all of us at Special Chronicles love StreamYard. Once again, if you want to sign up with StreamYard, specialchronicles.com/StreamYard. That's specialchronicles.com/StreamYard to sign up and get $10 in credit with our referral link. I hope you all will sign up for StreamYard, and happy live streaming. And until then, sign up for StreamYard and get $10 in credit with our referral link at specialchronicles.com/StreamYard. That's specialchronicles.com/StreamYard. And now back to the show. You like all that costume changes we do on the show?
It's like ridiculous. But I actually have never been able to do that. Like, you probably get more of a laugh in my videos that I had Hawaiian shirts on with this shirt on so much that it was just a staple to wear Hawaiian shirts. I even briefly, I might as well post it out. Actually, Brian Quinn, who's a coworker of mine, he gave me this hat to wear for Hawaiian Thursdays, and every now and then it makes an appearance in the Good Vibes show, obviously.
Well, speaking of costume changes, I mean, we're gonna wrap up in another 5-10 minutes or so, but kind of that kind of Good Vibes Hawaiian type theme, I know from, because we've known each other for a while, and I mean, even though I don't work at the same place that you work, but I know that. And I think I learned, because I want to say the first time we did a live audience, I mean, it wasn't really an audience, when we did a live podcast from the Special Olympics headquarters in Washington, D.C., I think it was on a Thursday, and it was on a what you had named Hawaiian Thursday. Is there is there like a kind of, we don't have a lot of time, but tell us kind of briefly about kind of this Hawaiian Thursday and because it seemed like there's some kind of connection with, if people see the graphic, I mean, you've got it on your T-shirt now, but also the outlook for your podcast is kind of that Good Vibes Hawaiian beach Hawaiian Thursday themed. So to tell us a little bit kind of that, and is there a connection with Hawaiian Thursday and Good Vibes?
Well, there's not really a random. There's I think it's more of a random connection at times when it happens. Obviously, I just feel like a Hawaiian shirt just doesn't give away the fool of it, to add to the effects of it. But just to give you a brief here, Hawaiian Thursday started in 2015. I was sort of inspired by my friend Terry Pickerel. If he's listening to this, hopefully he is. I'm still wearing Hawaiian shirts no matter what, Terry. I still wear them plenty of times. I now have there's a Hawaiian shirt I got from Specialist Michigan that's what I like. But I recently got one earlier this year that has my face on with a Minnesota Twins hat when I was in Minnesota in 2019. Mm-hmm. So that's the one Hawaiian shirt I cannot get rid of. But it was inspired by my friend Terry Pickerel, who always wore Hawaiian shirts, and I just kept it going and such. And I think it's just something I do. I like enjoying it. I actually, even working from home, I still do Hawaiian Thursday. Even when working from home, I still do it. And it's still a good thing. And if anyone ever wants to look up Hawaiian Thursday hashtag, you might have to request to follow my Instagram. But you can see quite a few Hawaiian Thursday things in there. Obviously.
Is it on your Good Vibes by JH Instagram, or is it on a different account?
It's on my personal account, and technically it's also on my Facebook. I really wish I could put them on
so
there.
If you all go follow at JM Holy on Instagram, then they can request to follow and see some of those.
Yep, they totally can. You might actually see quite some interesting things, like pictures of cats and such. You'll see what type of person I am. Obviously, I'm a very energetic person and such, but it just shows you that I'm just like everyone else in the end.
Yeah.
There's some fun commentary on some things, obviously.
And there's a good connection with, I think, your podcast and the Hawaiian Thursday way to kind of bring in that positive Hawaiian, positively good vibes into not only to your podcast, to your show, but also into your workplace and into your daily life by kind of bringing that positively through the Hawaiian Thursday, through the Good Vibes podcast, and kind of that. So.
Oh yeah, there's actually one that was named after the year for 2016 for Special Engineer, which was the year after 2016 when we officially celebrated at HQ. Everyone was wearing wearing something Hawaiian-ish, and it was so fun to actually watch that happen. There's actually a picture of staff in 2017. And my mom's not in the picture of it, obviously, but my mom took the picture of it. But my mom was there to watch the celebration of it. Everyone was wearing Hawaiian shirts or something. It was I really wish Hawaiian Thursday but I've not been, honestly, if anyone from Special Headquarters or International HQ's HR's listeners, I am not pressuring you to do it. But it'd be a great thing to have, obviously. Every now and then we need something there. I just chose Thursdays to wear Hawaiian shirts because technically Thursdays are my Fridays. I should only work Tuesday for Thursdays, literally.
Well, as we come to a close, we got just a couple final things to wrap up here because I'm gonna go eat dinner. I'm sure you're gonna go enjoy the rest of your Tuesday evening. What we call it? Well, this will drop on a Monday. Anyways, let's go on. So, share with us some final thoughts on your overall time. I usually say the Special Chronicles show, but I'm going to change it because this is introducing your podcast to join in the Special Chronicles Network. So, share with us final thoughts on what it's like for you and the Good Vibes podcast to join the Special Chronicles Network.
I think it's like a partnership made that was meant to happen eventually.
Yeah.
It took us a few months. We'll admit to that.
It took us a few.
We'll admit to that right now. But it was meant to happen because one, like I said, be part of a network is one thing, but being part of a network with someone who you've been good friends with is even better. And I think just joining this thing was the perfect time to do it because I don't know how to get this thing bigger. Obviously, I'm still very young. Who knows if Good Vibes will ever? If it doesn't, and I hope it doesn't, it may just go into random hiatuses when things change, obviously. But as life goes, sometimes that happens. But that's how Good Vibes are. It goes with things going. I'm hoping to keep it running for a few years. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
And obviously, we all obviously both you and I, we would love to have merch for our
we would
Chronicles and Good Vibes. Obviously, trying to figure out that stuff.
We'll have to figure out you guys. So stay tuned. Listen to subscribe to the Special Chronicles show. Subscribe to the Good Vibes by Jerry Holy show, and we'll let you know if we ever do get some merch. If we ever do get a Special Chronicles shop to have merch for both of our shows in this network, we'll let you all know. As we always conclude with a final question, but to introduce that question, we've got a bumble.
We're not just athletes.
We are the ambassadors of an uprising.
Peaceful protesters.
In a rebellion against anyone
who has a fear of difference.
Difference.
Our demands are
Equality.
Dignity. And the recognition of our shared humanity.
We will not stop
or accept anything less.
Today, our world is
more divided than ever.
And coming together has never been more urgent.
The revolution
is inclusion.
Find out more at jointherevolution.org.
And if you couldn't tell, but also the inclusion revolution is a big part of Special Olympics. It's also a big part of Special Chronicles. I'm hearing an echo. I don't know what that echo is. It just started coming on as we get into the 50-minute time frame of this episode. But with that, if you couldn't tell, by that bumper, as you all know, the inclusion revolution is big. And so I always conclude these conversations with, and I'll conclude this episode with as well, and asking you, Jerry, is what does inclusion mean to you?
Oh my goodness, I feel like I've been asked this question so many times, honestly.
I know.
It's just weird because I had to do it with the Special Olympics podcast that we did with conjunction with Hasbro, which was kind of fun.
Yeah, I know the you guys go listen to go subscribe to the Inclusion Revolution Radio podcast. Okay.
Yeah, so I think what inclusion means to me is basically people of all abilities are all included involved in things. And I think a term that you hear a few times in the Good Vibes series is neurodiversity, which is a big thing I kind of push a lot too. Mm-hmm. Is we're all neurodiverse. And what that really means is we may all look the same on the outside, but we all think differently, interact differently. And we're all just the same. We're all equally the same. We all just are diverse in who we are. And that's what inclusion is. We're diverse. We're neurodiverse. We're all part of something bigger and such. And I just want to thank you all who've been part of the inclusion revolution, obviously, but also part of those who are in the generations to come to become part of it. Because
the unified generation.
Yep, the unified generation, including those, like some of us experienced exclusion when we were younger, and we're sort of been more now included in life, but we do not want ours who are like us to experience that, and now they are part of that unified generation.
Yeah, and so we hope, a perfect way to wrap up this episode, we hope all of you listening will join Jerry, will join me, will join all of us at Special Chronicles, will join all of us at Special Olympics, and join the Inclusion Revolution. You can all sign the Inclusion Pledge at jointherevolution.org, whatever just previously played. You guys go rewind this episode and hear that. Anyways, we'll be back next week. Next week we'll be having Emmy-winning TV producer Jonathan Murray with his new show Bone for Business that's streaming on for free on Peacock. Jonathan Murray will be returning on this podcast. It's nice to be friends with some people in Hollywood, and so John will be coming back on the podcast. So you guys go look, stay subscribe, and at the end of the year, we will be having Now That's What I Call Special Chronicles Volume 2, where we do a best of episode with just a few clips of a few of our favorite moments from 2021 as we look back on the year of 2021 at the end of the year. We're looking forward to another best of episode. So you guys stay tuned. We've got more content because you guys come in the work. So if you want to be a guest on the Special Chronicles show, if you want to be a guest on Jerry's Good Vibes podcast, then reach out to us. You can DM Special Chronicles on social media. You can DM Jerry. You can just email feedback@specialchronicles.com or go to specialchronicles.com/contact and you can get in touch with us. And and hopefully soon we'll have a way of how you guys can text message us. We're working on that. Probably by the time you hear this, we'll probably be live. But you guys, we'll let you know all about that. And we got more content. So until then, Jerry, I thought we could say remember choose to include at the end. So you guys, we'll see you next week right here Monday, 6 p.m. Central Time on SpecialChronicles.com. Yep. Until then, remember, choose to include.
Yep, choose to include everyone. So fist bump everyone.
into this episode of the Special Chronicles. No. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Special Chronicles Shows podcast. Visit specialchronicles.com to follow Special Chronicles on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, and don't forget to hit the bell to be notified of new episodes. Also, subscribe to our newsletter mailing list to sign up for our updates and get exclusive content delivered to your inbox. Remember to do what you do with these podcasts. Subscribe or follow and rate and review Special Chronicles on Apple Podcasts, the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you get your podcasts. Finally, please share this episode and all of our podcasts with your friends and family. Help us grow our audience and reach 5,000 downloads of our audio podcasts and over 14,000 average monthly listeners. Have a great week, and we'll see you back here next week with exciting new guests. See you next week.
Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
That's a wrap. Welcome, Joey, to the Special Chronicles Network. Yeah.
Yep, and we're still live, by the way.
We're still live, I know. Welcome. This is the outro. It's the after show. It's the after show. We've got another 30 seconds of the after show. People can't see us, but we'll hear.
Yeah, thank you so much, Daniel.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Special Chronicles Shows podcast. Visit specialchronicles.com to follow Special Chronicles on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, and don't forget to hit the bell to be notified of new episodes. Also, subscribe to our newsletter mailing list to sign up for our updates and get exclusive content delivered to your inbox. Remember to do what you do with these podcasts. Subscribe or follow and rate and review Special Chronicles on Apple Podcasts, the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you get your podcasts. Finally, please share this episode and all of our podcasts with your friends and family. Help us grow our audience and reach 5,000 downloads of our audio podcasts and over 14,000 average monthly listeners. Have a great week, and we'll see you back here next week with exciting new guests. See you next week.
Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.